It was all white, all pale, and yet fought so much to convince me that these things were worth a lot of money. Now he couldn't tell me that no, this was just less than that. He was stuck. Hi guys, I'm Mario Guillot. Welcome back. Let's catch up on the previous episode and I'll tell you about my first architectural project, which was my first house that I built in Australia. So by chance I met a builder and I showed him the plans and he was happy to give it a try, to get an architect to do the plan that I've designed. And it was really a really different kind of house where everyone had red brick houses. Mine was all bagged and painted in white and pitch roof and glass everywhere. And this is the house I shouldn't be able to afford. So of course when the quote came, I couldn't afford that house. With builders in Australia, when you say you want to add something to your house, it always costs a lot more. And when you say you want to remove something, they always remove a very little amount of money. So I really had to be wise to find a way to get that house into my budget and see how I could afford that house. What I did is I thought of all the things that were not essential, like pergolas, I had a glass roof at some point, I had a few things, I had a pool, I had a lot of things that were not essential to the house. And I knew that if I told the builder, okay, I don't want these things, it would just take a ridiculous amount of money out of the quote and it still wouldn't be affordable. So I approached it in a different way and said, look, now, of course, I see this house is out of my budget. I see a few things that are special that I've added, but to my opinion, these things can't cost that much. So I tried to get him to blow up those prices. I would say a ridiculous amount of money, and he would say, of course not, this costs much more, this is going to cost so much, this costs so much, this costs so much, trying to explain why my house was costing so much. And once he had blown up all these prices, I just told him, okay, look, these things are essential for me, let's take them out. It was all white, all pale, and he didn't know how to, he had fought so much against me to convince me that these things were worth a lot of money. Now he couldn't tell me that no, this was just less than that. He was stuck. In the end, I got my house that I shouldn't be able to afford at a great price. And one special thing I really did was, like, at the time all the houses had carpets and boarding, and I hated carpets. Of course I wanted floorboards, but with my budget I would never be able to. I thought I wouldn't be able to afford floorboards. Then I went to see the guy. I said, look, when you're doing the flooring, you're putting boarding and then you're putting carpet, aren't you? He goes, yes, that's in the price. And I said, what if you add the price of the boarding with the price of the carpet? Can I afford hardwood floors? And he was, hey, yes, it should be about the same price. So no one thought about it, but for me it worked. I had beautiful floorboards and I had my first house. And it took about 6 to 8 months to build. It was a beautiful place. It was my first, for a first house, was really special. This was, I guess, that first finger I put into architecture, and from there on, I guess I designed homes and many houses after that for friends. I mean, in Australia, when I designed my house, I had a flatmate who was living with me for a while, who decided at some point to build his own, and I also designed his house in Australia with that turned around a central garden. So even there, when I was just starting, I was perhaps 25 or 26, I played around with some interesting concepts, and it's never stopped since then. I remember my first encounter with the architect who was going to design my house. I was 25 at the time, I probably looked about 16 or 17. I was with my shorts and my cap, trying to explain to this professional how to put the house on the land, to be careful that it was a bit big, you might have problems, to check the measurements and stuff, and look at me like, come on, you're not going to tell me how to do my job, go home, let the professionals work, which I did. Finally, when I got the plans, what I was worried would happen had happened, and actually all his measurements were wrong, because I guess he did the house without thinking of the land, and he couldn't fit it on the land, and then he changed all the measurements. That didn't make sense. Anyway, to cut a long story short, we had to get the plans redone. I remember when I finally got the architect plans and I designed a 45-degree angle roof, and the architect didn't respect my original design and gave me like a 20-degree angle roof and looked really ugly, and I wanted him to change those plans. He said, no, don't worry about it, you can just do that when you're building the house. So I wasn't very confident with that. So when the builder was actually building the house, I kept calling him and insisting that he doesn't follow the architect plans, that he follows my original design plan for 45-degree angle roof. And even in the morning when they were starting the roof, before going to work, I popped in and reminded them that please don't follow the architect plans, follow my design plans. And next thing I know, when I came home at night, I had a big cross over the roof, and it looked like a church, like they made a joke and put the cross over the roof. And the neighbors were all worried and asking what's happening here. And they said, yeah, they are building this is new church they are building in the area. And it was a joke of the year. But this house was finally built. Took some time, took some hassles, took some fighting with the builders, as with everyone, but it was done. And I remember the first day I got my keys, and it was early September, the sun was out, and I got the key, opened that door and walked into my house, and it was a magic moment. I came with that first, I think I remember I had a CD rack, my CD rack, that was my first piece of furniture that I had. I put that CD rack in the lounge, and my house was furnished. Now the house was built, I had a little party, having a few friends over, and when his friend walked in, he said, look, you didn't have to tell me which one was your house, because it really stood out like dog's balls. It was this only white house in this yellow and red brick environment. So for me, your house is your cocoon, your house is your refuge, and the place that you need to feel safe, and the place where you need to feel good and be able to rest and be happy and have fun. So it's important that the house is well designed. A house needs to be functional. A house also needs to be beautiful. Beauty is as important as function, because beauty creates an emotion. By mixing the elements, natural light, the breeze that comes in, the views that you get, having access to nature, be able to see nature, not be blocked in a box, have natural elements like wood, glass, concrete, a bit of color. These things can only contribute to create the perfect environment for you to feel comfortable and safe. My approach to house design is to design a house that will adapt to your lifestyle, or design a house that will design your new lifestyle. And this is, I guess, the ultimate when as a designer you can improve the everyday of the clients you're working for. Okay guys, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next episode. And for now, it's bye-bye.